Hi guys, JP here from Biz Video, and really excited to talk with Greg from Kiadom Homes today. Kiadom Homes specialise in second dwellings, custom small homes and granny flats. And Greg, really excited and big thank you for chatting this morning. What you do is quite unique compared to a lot of the other builders that we help. So thank you very much.
No worries.
I thought maybe to kick things off, give us a bit of a background to Kiadom. What sort of stuff, I mean, I gave a very brief, just sort of sentence there, but tell us a bit more from your side.
We started, our inception was in about 2006, if I recall correctly.
Yeah.
And we went into the, I guess you would call it the standard building market, meaning we were building your 4-bed double lockups.
Yeah.
It's a very, very, almost saturated market, I'd say. A lot of people doing the same thing, unless you've got something quite unique, or the likes of something different to everybody else. You're competing with a lot of the big boys that are got it pretty well sorted out, if I say so.
Yeah.
So we found that we were floating around looking for a different market, and spent a lot of years doing that, in fact. And at the same time, branching out while the mining boom was on, and I spent a little bit of time in a corporate job, working as a construction manager, and a few things like that.
Yeah.
Coming out of that, when I stepped back in and got back into the flow of Kiadom Homes, again we were sort of I call it chasing different rabbits, meaning. Somebody would come to me and say they wanted to build a duplex, so I'd follow that, and then there'd be some architectural homes, so I'd go and do that, and then there'd be decks and pergolas, and I'd sort of follow that, and I found it difficult to really get a flow and to create a system, because I was chasing all these bunnies around, Then 3 or 4 years ago, we found that there seemed to be this trend. Whereas, regardless of what I was doing, whether it was a new home or a client inquiry, I found a lot of people were asking for some form of independent living or second dwelling. Yeah. Whether that was actually a garage conversion or building up, or a granny flat, or something like that, or even we built a new home that had a separate dwelling attached to it in the original building approval. And I found a lot of this was going on. So with a couple of other things heading towards that direction, namely an ageing population, housing affordability, teenagers having trouble, disability support, I felt there were a lot of reasons that this would be beneficial to specialise in this area of the market. So I wanted to find a way to target that type of clientele, and gear my business and set it up and sort of educate myself a little bit on the rules, and get that infrastructure worked out and set up my business so I could target that that corner of the market.
Did it take a long time to? Because you said you started noticing that consistency coming up with the projects. How long did that take? Because I know some guys, forever almost, they're chasing all the rabbits. How long did it take for you to start noticing, okay, I'm chasing rabbits and here's a potential niche?
Sure. So as I mentioned, floating around between the news, then like my little corporate job in the early teens, 2010 to 2014 or something like that. Then coming out of that, I floated around for 2 or 3 years, and that's when I was starting to identify that there was this, I guess, organic inquiry for the second dwellings. So it was probably back in about 2015-16 that I started to come up with the concept of, listen, I need to focus on this. I need to build my business around following that, and that's when I started to aim for it after that. So it started off by creating a couple of plans, for example, and a few things like that I could start to offer to clients, and then after that I just needed to market it properly.
Right. And if we go prior to us, even because I remember when we first started chatting, but say prior to that, what were some of the ways that you were going out there? Because once you pick a niche, it's then like, okay, well, how do I go and get the attention of just this niche? How are you at doing that? How are you?
Yeah, that was tough. That was a lot of it was word of mouth.
Right.
So it started off, and when I was talking to the people that I had done those previous jobs for, I found that yes, we were getting that word of mouth, but it wasn't really what we were looking for. Meaning that it was a little bit like what I mentioned earlier, a garage conversion or a build-up extension or something like that. Whereas what I really wanted to focus on and what I really saw a market for, probably more so because I would be able to create the business systems for it, was to actually focus on standalone second dwellings. So the inquiry, like I said, was coming in via word of mouth. Maybe the odd little, Facebook post that we did ourselves or something like that. But I found it to be a little bit sporadic. Sometimes we were getting lucky enough to get an inquiry to do exactly what we'd want, but more often than not, it was not quite there. And I felt I was still sort of, even though I was getting closer to that niche, I found I was still sort of chasing these little rabbits that weren't quite what I was looking for.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. And then what was it like when you're talking to someone that was ideal? How was that, building that relationship? Did that take time, or what was that?
Yeah, well, like I say, because a lot of it came from referral, it made it a little bit easier because I had somebody that was doing our work for us effectively. That was telling us that we did a good job on theirs. But it was more of a, if I got that job, it felt like it was a little bit out of my control, meaning I was just getting lucky. Which is great. I mean, don't get me wrong, when you win a job like that, but it's difficult to plan your business around getting lucky. I really wanted to somehow get a system where I was able to start to get a bit of an idea and create some historical data and get our inquiries coming in that was up to us, that wasn't just sort of getting lucky and wasn't just relying on somebody else spruiking our name.
Because I know as well, when we first started chatting, you were kind of busy trying to move away from a particular relationship that was sort of feeding you work.
Gotcha. Yeah. So in those days, as well as that, I was that's a story in itself.
Yeah.
When I was starting to have this idea of wanting to work with second dwellings and granny flats, I happened to be having coffee with a friend.
Yeah.
And she said to me, "You should talk to my friend because she's an architect and she wants to do something similar to what you're doing." Yeah. So we sort of established a relationship, whereas she was designing the buildings, selling them to a client, and I'd come in to be the builder for that particular project, which was okay, but I found that I was sort of governed by what she was doing. Right. So I wasn't really in control of how much we were selling or not selling, and I found that, it was, we were working, it was all right, but I felt like I
again, not in control of...
Exactly, not in control. I mean, I was reliant on her and her system to be able to generate that work, and that wasn't what I was looking for.
Wow. Okay, and then if we look at we started chatting, and I feel like it was an easy conversation from day one. You were very open, which made it easy, just to chat and understand. Some people, I think if they've been sold to in the past, they're very reluctant to have a conversation because they think this can be sold to. But with you, it was just quite easy. You had a bit of understanding to marketing. You've been doing some business development and education. So we could chat about things nice and openly. What was it that first got your attention of us? How'd you come across us?
Good question. I don't know. Probably much like a lot of the social media stuff, when I started to show an interest in some business development, I probably got some biz video pop up on my social media feeds, my personal social media feeds. Interesting what you say though about being open when we first talked, because business development and business coaching is what I was doing because I was identifying the need for me to sort of improve my what would you call it, business skills.
Yeah.
You know, I've been building for, you know, I've been in the building industry since the early 90s. You know, can, you know, build you anything you like. But as far as sort of knowing the ins and outs of my financials and, you know, the accounting systems and, you know, taxation, I found, and even my own leadership and recruitment and a few these other things that are related to business, notwithstanding marketing, which I'm sure we'll get to, but I found that I needed to establish something and set something up that we're able to build upon. And there's a book, a bit of a classic, called The E-Myth, and what they talk about is that a lot of businesses fail not because of lack of inquiry or income, but because of lack of systems. So what I wanted to do was create those systems of the things that I'd mentioned prior, and then start to build it. So at first, I sort of didn't want to, I wanted to leave my marketing to that last system because I wanted to ensure that if and when I did create a marketing system that was successful, that I wasn't swamped with inquiry that I wasn't going to be able to keep up with because we didn't have those other systems in place. So I wanted to make sure I had my, you know, ducks in a row, as it were, before I started marketing. Then, of course, because I was involved in a lot of that other stuff and, you know, accepting things off Facebook with regards to, you know, or Instagram with regards to, you know, business development, I'm sure that's when I started to see and notice the biz video. And you say that I was open. Well, you guys were local to me, which was great because we could sit and have a face-to-face, which is important to me. And then and a lot of the things that we discussed when we sat down really did line up with a lot of the business development that I was doing. So rather than sort of being too guarded, I thought, well, listen, I'll just be open. I'll see what these guys have got to say. And then when we had a discussion, and a lot of the things that we were saying were in line with what we were talking about. And I thought, well, you know, this is sort of the direction that I want to head in.
Perfect. What was it, do you think, that was the clincher, or that was like, there's enough validity here for me to go, let's either this is the best, this is the right decision, or at least it's enough to go, let's give us a go? What do you think that was?
The thing that I thought was a big point for me was I had seen a previous video that you guys have created for a builder that was, you know, a builder still on the Gold Coast, but it was in a slightly different sector. And I remember watching that video and just thinking to myself, I don't know what I've just seen and why I like it so much, but I want that guy to build my house, and I'm a builder. You know? And I thought, and I knew that it was marketing. I knew that it wasn't because this guy was, you know, my best mate. It was because I knew that what had been created and what I had just watched had really sort of conveyed a message to me. And I remember thinking to myself, if these guys can do for me what they've done for that fella, this is going to be great. And that's sort of why, I guess it was sort of, I'd seen evidence that it had worked because I had felt that connection with that guy, even though I'd never met him. You know, and I thought that's fantastic. And if Biz Video can do for me what they've done for him, well, then I'm all ears. You know, so that's probably what sold me most of all.
That's good feedback to hear that you watched it and you thought, I want this guy to build my house, and I'm a builder.
It was a bit like that. It was funny.
Okay, and then you came on board, and I remember we always love working with you, but at that stage when you came on board, just you being a bit different from the others we'd spoken to was really exciting. What were some of the things that you really enjoyed in that initial journey, like starting to get, you go for it.
Well, that's easy. One of the things that I thought was, as we were going in there, and I'm sure this is something that you hear a lot, and a lot of the discussion that we had was around finding my story. And I thought, you know, I don't have a story. You know, I'm a guy who, you know, did his apprenticeship with his old man, got his builder's license, and became a builder. You know, that's boring. That's normal. You know, and I thought this isn't exciting. What I really liked was, and again, this is what lined up with a lot of my business coaching and business development, was actually looking inside and coming up with techniques about how to find what's important to me as a builder. And I liked the way that you guys were able to, I'm sure you gave it a name, our initial session. What do we call it now?
Story development session.
So during the story development session, what was interesting was that, just simply with a few well-worded questions, you were able to find out from me what was important to me, rather than just saying, what do you want to tell what do you want to tell your customers? By having a bit of a, in that story development session, we were able to, pull out what was important and why that was important. And I guess that was the key of finding our story and finding why what's important to us and what we want to convey.
Greg, one thing I like you mentioned there or articulated there was how it helped you find your story, and you thought, how are you going to do that? I don't have a story. I just did my trade, then I got my license, and I've been building. I think that's what a lot of builders have in their minds before they talk to us, or that might be the reluctancy to why they would engage or just begin a conversation with us. But I like what you said there as well. It's not just about where you've come from, and that's a big thing we emphasize. It's also about where you're going and who you're becoming. Because when you share that story, then you start attracting people who go, yeah, your values align. The values that you're taking with you to go from here to there, that aligns. And we also want to go somewhere pretty similar. So I want to do this with you, whether it be a client or whether it be, ideal staff that start seeing what you guys are creating.
Interesting you say that, because what we found in doing that, and a great way I found that something that stuck with me, which was a way to find out what was important to us and why that was important to us, is I was asked the question about, when were you given a compliment that was good? And I said, well, it was when a client told me that, X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
And then the question was asked, well, why was that important? And I said, it's just because it was good, because I liked it, because it made me feel like that I'd done my job correctly. And why was that important to you? And I got to thinking about why these things were important. And in doing that, with a few well-worded questions, I was able to say, what was important to me was surrounding myself with a team that was able to produce a product that everybody was happy with. But not only that the client enjoyed the process from beginning to end. Not just grit their teeth while the building was going on and getting a nice house at the end of it, but was able to enjoy it. Enjoyed the selection process. Liked working with a cabinet maker to get their kitchen exactly as they liked it. So in doing that, finding our values, our core values within our business, what we found is that once we'd identified our core values, we were able to relate that to our employees and our subcontractors. Wow. And we found that our subcontractors then, as we looked at them, we realised that the subcontractors that became our juiced-in contractors, the ones that we used for every job over and over again, we found that they really shared our core values. Wow. So we created this group of subcontractors and employees that was just sorry for being corny, but it was like a big family. We were able to, we all knew what everybody was doing, and it made the construction of our projects that much easier, because everybody was working together, and it became a positive upward spiral. Whereas we're all working together, and everybody knew what everybody wanted, and all the little bugs got ironed out, and the subcontractors, the same painters were following the plasterers, so they were able to communicate. And it was such a positive move to identify what was important and then relay that to our subcontractors and employees, and then everybody's just heading in the same direction instead of fighting against each other.
I'm really glad you raised that, because I do hear that from a few of our clients, where it has a far greater ripple effect than they initially thought. Their team are turning up earlier, staying later, taking on more responsibility willingly. And they're able, one of our guys the other day said a massive win for him was a guy that he's been trying to get rid of for a year and a half. When he showed him the story for the first time and showed the team, the next day that guy gave me his letter of resignation. And he was like, that was a huge win. I couldn't let this guy go because he was doing the work, but he just wasn't team. He didn't feel like family and didn't want to be part of the family. But apart from that, like, we're not a silver bullet. You and a lot of our clients that see great success is because they put in hard work. you plug us in, what are some of the other things that you did that were really effective, that made this partnership that much better?
What I think Biz Video did for us more than anything else is you guys started to create a little bit of consistency with our inquiry. So when we had consistency, I was able to then monitor that and start to come up with systems surrounding it. So for example, when an inquiry comes in, the first thing I do is qualify that client. So the qualification is, do you want built what we want to build? Do you have the capability to pay for what we want to build? Are you in the radius or the proximity of where we want to build? So if that client gets qualified, then we try and book a meeting. We book a meeting. And so in doing that and having a bit of a consistency with our inquiry, I was able to look at some historical data and start to tweak things about whether they were, whether we needed to change things or do more or do less, or how many people were we getting that were qualified, and it gave us the ability to start to change our message to try and find that ideal client that we were looking for. Namely, ideal client building what we wanted to build because we're able to create that system to build that very efficiently, and B, the particular client that we wanted to work with, be it a demographic, financially, age, hobbies, whatever, we were able to find that particular person and work with them, work with our ideal client.
Maybe in your words would be best. I might use jargon that doesn't resonate with some people. How would you describe what Richard has helped set up, Richard and Brittany have helped set up for you guys, in terms of, because we help you with the ad side of things, and then that journey that prospect takes until you have a conversation with them, in your words.
So Brittany and Richard were able to find out what we wanted to build, find out exactly, and then the type of client that was going to be best for us to work with, and then target our message directly towards that client and find them specifically, so we could put our offer, our marketing material in front of that particular person. I'm not much of a writer, so obviously using Brittany and Richard to write copy was fantastic. They were able to find out exactly what we wanted to say and what we wanted to do, and package it up and put it in that piece of marketing material so we could get it out to and put it out in front of our ideal client. It was great.
Perfect. And they've also set up for you that sort of custom questionnaire for you guys. So it comes to you with information on that client already?
So that's something that's happened of late, which has been a sensation. We haven't really discussed that, but that's been fantastic. So originally what we would have is we'd have a client come to us with an inquiry. 99 times out of 100, that inquiry was, how much is this? So we'd have a sample product, we'd have a sample of one of our second dwellings, a picture per se, and a floor plan. And like I say, 99 times out of 100, how much does it cost to build that? Which, sure, they need to know, but I mean, in doing the market, in doing the area that we're doing, we also need to know some things first. We need to know what they want included in there. We need to know the finishes. We need to know whether they have, for example, whether they have they're on town sewer or they need their own system. So Brittany and Richard created a short questionnaire, I guess you would say, that triggers our clients to ask to answer a few questions for us, that gives us the ability to qualify that client a lot sooner, to find out whether that's something that somebody that we want to pursue, or whether it's not going to be suitable and they should find somebody that's that services that market a little bit better than us. And I would say that sort of cut our inquiry time down and our administration time down dramatically, simply because of that one form. It was great.
Yeah, I know we did a lot of research into when we came up with that process system. You can grow a business far better with the right systems in place, like you said earlier. But I know the research going into that, one thing that just kept standing out, because you talk to all builders and it's that same frustration. People call me and they go, how much? And I was like, man, there can't be that many those kind of people? In like, why is it so consistent? And our research then just showed that, I don't know if you want to say psychologically, when someone lands or comes, when they're looking, they're in a bit of a research phase and they don't know what they want. They need your help to know what they want. Yeah. And they go for it.
So what we found with the form that Richard and Brittany had created, is it also gave me a lot of information from that client that when I called them, I was armed with a lot of information, namely what's important to them and why it's important to them. For example, one of the questions that we have is just that: what are you looking for in a builder? Yeah. We get a lot of the similar answers, but it gives me the ability that when I call them, I know what they're looking for. Namely, they're looking for somebody who's reliable. They might be looking for honesty. They might be looking for flexibility in plans. They might be looking for, a locked-in time frame for a build. Yeah. So I'm able to sort of,
have the right conversation with
custom design my answers, and and I'm able to talk to that person as to exactly what they want. And if they're looking for a fixed time frame, well, then we can offer them that. If they're looking for a completely fixed contract, well, we can offer them that. We can offer them that as well. I might know by that form that they're really concerned with a builder not returning their phone calls or poor communication. So I know that I've just got to be nice and attentive and responsive to their inquiry, and all of a sudden I'm head and shoulders above the next builder who takes 3 or 4 days to get back to them. So it's quite a powerful tool, I find. Yeah.
Wow. That's awesome feedback. That's really good. I'm glad we're recording this just so Rich and Brittany can hear that. That's a big thing we're trying to do, is just get more feedback from our builders and their wins to then pass it on to the team in the back end. Because sometimes they don't hear that or see that. For you, partnering with us, what's one of the biggest things you take away from it?
The biggest benefit in partnering with Biz Video, I find, is that it's been, even though I've mentioned it before, it's given me that consistency of inquiry. To be able to target our marketing to build what we want. That's going to be down our alley. That's going to be good qualified clientele that we can service their needs. So once upon a time, when I was just hoping and waiting for referrals to work, now I know that we've got a consistent stream of inquiry, and of those inquiries, there's going to be a percentage that are going to be qualified. Yeah. So we're able to really, so the marketing system of our business, I feel, is just taken care of. And it makes it a lot easier to focus on the other elements, knowing that inquiry is really just taken care of.
Yeah, brilliant. The money, or the investment versus the value output.
Tenfold.
The ability to say no.
It's made it a lot easier because I know what that client wants. I don't need to go out to their house and find out what they want and waste all that time just to turn around and say it's not for me.
Yeah. Time input versus value output.
Biz Video handling my marketing means that I put very little time into it. I approve some marketing material once every month. Yep. And that's it. That's great.
If someone says to me, what if I don't know what to say in the video?
I find that the way that the system worked with me is it was simple as a conversation. Yeah. And that conversation was, I found that my responses were basically just created, and it turned into an awesome video that I didn't even really think about it. I was just really just having a conversation with somebody and answering questions. So it was really that simple.
Great. Cool. What's the future with our partnership?
Just strong into the future. I mean, I really don't see anything slowing down. Everything's working great. The system's just as it's supposed to be. So as my business develops and changes, then we'll talk about other things as well.
Brilliant. What does it feel like to have your marketing taken care of?
It's a again, a bit cliched, but it's a sigh of relief. It just means that I know that inquiry's there.
Yeah.
I don't have to think about marketing. I'm not sitting there wondering about what post I'm going to put on Facebook, or whether I should use Google AdWords, or whether I should be sending out emails every 3 days or something like that. I just take a step back, concentrate on running the business.
Yeah,
perfect.
Amazing. How does Biz Video help you nurture those long-term prospects?
The beauty about the way that the system works that we're using, the Biz Video system works that we're using, is that if people are lukewarm and just thinking about it, they can put in an inquiry. They'll see our marketing material for 6 months, 12 months, however long it is, until they're ready to pull the trigger. Then when they pull the trigger, they can give us an inquiry, we can follow it, and we know that they've sort of been following our process just by seeing it, seeing it through their social media feeds, or seeing it pop in through, marketing ads and what have you. We just know they're there in the background, seeing what we're doing until they're ready to contact us.
Yeah, brilliant. What if someone says, what if I'm afraid to ask clients to be on camera?
I wouldn't think that that's an issue. I find that most people are receptive to it. When you've got clients that you do a good job for and you establish a good relationship, it's my experience that overwhelmingly people want to help you in small business, and they're happy about it. And I find the Biz Video guys, make people more than comfortable. They're quite relaxed about it, and it's nothing more than a light conversation. It's simple.
Is it all about inquiries and leads, or what about awareness?
Yeah, so inquiries and leads are great, but the beauty about what we're doing is we're letting people know precisely what we do. So awareness, people are aware of the type of business that we're running. So rather than getting those inquiries that I was mentioning earlier in our conversations about God knows what, we find that people know what we're doing, they know our brand, they're learning what our brand, and they're sort of we're positioning ourselves as the premier second dwelling granny flat builder on the Gold Coast. So I think the messaging as a whole has been positive. Nothing but positive.
Awesome. What was the initial feedback from those around you when we started creating those first stories?
When we created our overview story, I put it straight out to friends, family, past clients, employees, everybody.
Great.
And instantly, the feedback was just huge. Just sort of saying, and I feel that those people got the effect that I got from that first video I watched from the other client, and the feedback I got was similar to what I felt. Just that it was fantastic, and that it was like, wow, you've really, we can see what you're doing.
That's exactly us.
Yeah, and they're absolutely overwhelmed by just sort of exactly what it was.
Yeah, amazing. How long did it take to start seeing results?
I've got to remember the date because it was important. It was something like November 19 that the first video hit, and we got our first inquiry on November 19. I remember driving in the car, and I think Richard said, our ads are starting today, and the phone rang that day. Wow. And it was for somebody looking for for a granny flat. And I just, my jaw dropped. I just went, this didn't come soon. This came instantly, like absolutely instantly. We keep a CRM. We keep a client resource management, just a rudimentary spreadsheet we've kept ourselves. And we saw the inquiry just turn on a dime. Absolutely, from the end of November when we started, the inquiry just went to a level and just kept consistent. It was perfect. I just remember thinking at the time, I think I made the right decision here. I've had a lot of dubious business decisions. You know, some of them you question, some of them are right. So I remember that day thinking, I think I got this one right. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Why is it important to be in front of your ideal market 24/7?
It's important because I want people to be inquiring to have things built that I want to build. Mm-hmm. And the reason that's important is because I'm a big believer in systemization, mm-hmm. and it's very, very difficult to systemize your building system if you're running around doing all sorts of different things. Mm. Whereas if people are building what you want to sell or what you want to build, it's very easy to create a system that you can improve upon. That to me, that is the key. So to be able to build something that, you know, don't get me wrong, not everything works perfectly every time, but if you're duplicating that, then you're able to learn from the mistakes you made there and build and put that into your system to ensure that that mistake doesn't happen again. So it doesn't take too long, and all of a sudden, a lot of those mistakes have been ironed out. Whereas if you're going from a renovation to a new, to a duplex, to a deck, you know, you don't really have the, sure, you can, next time you build a deck, you can ensure, you know, you don't make that mistake. Yeah. But that could be, you know, who knows how far down the track. Whereas with these, ideal client, wanting what we're wanting to build, we're able to systemize it and make sure that it works better next time.
Why is marketing important to your business?
We're following a bit of a theme here, but I find that marketing is essential because it gives me a consistency of inquiry, and that consistency of inquiry allows me to learn and systemize to be able to project what's going to happen in the future. By having a consistency of inquiry, I'm able to learn percentages of what I'm winning as far as works go. How many contracts I'm getting from how many inquiries. And from then, I can then better predict what my workflow is going to be. So I can better predict my business size. I can better predict my cash flow. I can better predict the amount of staffing that I need. So to me, marketing's the key at the beginning. By getting marketing right, it sets a foundation to be able to learn what you're going to need in the future.
So in the beginning of this conversation, you said that you got systems in place first and then you brought marketing in.
Yep.
Would you, now you've seen how it works, would you do it again or would you bring marketing in before those?
What I found with the initial consultation with Biz Video, is I found actually that Biz Video helped me put those initial systems in place first. So in doing that, a lot of those, it wasn't just about the marketing. It wasn't just about sending a message out to clients. It was about helping with those systems and setting those systems up. So as when the marketing did launch, I was able to sort of manage the inquiry that came in. So yes, I think those systems still have to be set up, but I also found that there's nothing wrong with coming in early, starting to establish your story while I'm putting those systems in place.
Yeah, awesome. And you mentioned earlier as well that you having marketing working really well gives you the consistency of leads and qualified leads to then work through, and you've now got systems in place to handle everyone as it goes. It's better project management, better cash flow, everything's smooth. On a big picture, when everything runs like that, what does that mean for Greg Kite?
It means it frees me up. It means that I can start to make more decisions with my time, whether that be start a little bit later, leave a little bit earlier, whether I want to take the family away, or it may also mean that when the projects are running like they should, it means that I can do more business development rather than running a project, which if I want means I can grow my business or take advantage of a parallel system, for example. It frees my time up to be able to do probably be more efficient with my time.
Yeah, amazing. That's good.
Get to paddle in the morning, so.
Nice. And more adventure races.
That's it. More. Get to go to Cairns for a week.
That's it. These ones are real quick, so one question, just one line answers. We'll go as fast as we can. Someone says, I need to talk to my wife.
Talk to her, but do it anyway.
I don't have the right team in place right now.
I don't know why that's important.
My team is too small.
No such thing as a team too small.
I'm too old.
If you're vertical, you're not too old.
I'm too young.
Best time to start.
My business is too young.
No such thing.
It costs too much.
Costs too much not to do it.
I've got too much going on. This is just another thing to add on.
No, it's going to free up your time, not add to it.
I'm not articulate. How does this video help with that?
You won't even know. It's such an organic conversation. It'll be easy.
I want to get my back end set up and perfect, polished, and then I'll do marketing.
I wouldn't say perfect. I'd say make sure it's close, but this video will help with that.
I've tried videos.
There's videos and there's videos, isn't there?
There's building and there's building. I have an apprentice, and he does a bit of video.
No, it's about story development. It's not about holding an iPhone in front of somebody and answering a few questions. There's so much more to it than that.
I'll wait till I get better projects.
No, this is how you'll get better projects.
I'll take another look in 6 months.
There's no reason to do that. I'd say start looking at it now. Yeah, you'll be reaping the benefits in 6 months.
I'm too busy right now. I've got work booked up for 12 months. Talk to me in 12 months.
You're going to free up your time, and you're going to do, and it's going to increase the profits of the projects that you're doing.
Oh, this one I heard from someone the other day. I just moved offices, and this one's got better street frontage. I'll just do that.
I found that we were attracting our ideal clients, not just somebody passing by that saw that we were builders. They were inquiring to get built exactly what our business was set up to build.
That's important. If you love that conversation that Greg and I just had, fantastic. Would love to hear from you. Any questions, anything you wish we discuss more of, or anything like that. Otherwise, there are some more interviews below. Check them out, and let's have a chat.